What's Trending, presented by Tim Daly Ford, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. More changes on the horizon, we think, for college football, Jarom, and we'll dive right into that. The Action Network's Brett McMurphy, friend of the program, reported late last night on those changes coming to the college football playoff starting in 2026. Here is his full statement, and I quote: "Conference commissioners have decided to start over on determining the 2026 college football playoff format," sources said. Big Ten and SEC initially wanted 4 automatic qualifiers each, with 2 each to the ACC and Big 12. However, ACC and Big 12 pushed back. SEC coaches later publicly did not support the 4 AQ model, instead preferring 5 AQ plus 11 at-large format for a 16-team playoff, as did the ACC and Big 12. Well, he continues. Okay. The SEC wants more value given to strength of schedule metrics, something college football playoff executives discussed in today's meetings. However, a source cautioned, even if strength of schedule is supposed to carry more weight with the committee, it still boils down to their opinions on who they think are the best teams. The human factor, people. Deadline for finalizing the 2026 college football playoff format is December 1st. There's a lot in there. What do you take away immediately from this report, Jarom?
I like that there was pushback. What you heard from me at the start of this segment was, if it was this or that, then I would prefer the 4-4-2-2-1 model. But it's not. There was pushback. And so they're looking at it again. And I'm glad that the SEC coaches themselves were saying, no, let's not get this automatic thing, which is a bit surprising that they would say that. Like, why not have 4 automatic if you can get it? But it's nice to know that just because the SEC and Big Ten want something, they don't just get it. So I like this. I like the idea that we could go back to this. Now, there are 2 pieces to this, though. I think ultimately in a 16-team playoff like this, the SEC will probably get 4 in. But we'd like to think that the Big 12 and BYU could be in the mix more than they have been. But that's under the current constitution of what's been happening in the Big 12. Who's to say that will continue forever? What if the Big 12 suddenly has 3 teams that are consistently awesome and in the mix now? Now that 2 would have been not enough. So there are things to think about, certainly. And if you're a team like BYU, we certainly hope that the Cougars can start to build a situation where 11-2 last year was not a one-off, Spencer. It was more of, hey, BYU is kind of flirting, kind of K-State vibes of like flirting with 9+ almost every year. And you have those special years like last year where you get 11-2, and perhaps you can get in. Last year, BYU would have been the first team out, given what they ranked on the final day.
Which was a joke.
Right. But we will talk about in a second what the perfect format could look like as you take a look at, what it could have been, right? They had BYU at 17 in that final ranking. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. And I'm glad there was pushback, and I'm excited to see what they figure out, but they have to. My dad's from Asheville, North Carolina. Should I just send him to the meetings and have him report live from these? Back in his hometown, which is fun. They're talking about a lot of stuff, which we'll get into in a second.
Our mobile reporter, Jarom Jordan's father,
David Jordan, what up?
Nokia 9532 phone.
Probably.
Or whatever it is.
It's got a BlackBerry still. I'm just kidding. Sometimes I'm like, why isn't FaceTime working? It's 2025.
Okay, I want to clarify on something you said, just so I understand. You like the idea of the Big 12 having 2 automatics?
If it's this or that, yes, because currently they wouldn't be getting in 2. But, as I pointed out, this isn't to say that will always be the case for the Big 12. They could create more competition here. But as currently constituted, the Big 12 would benefit from getting 2. They may not get a second in very often or at all.
A few other things I would like to bring up.
Other one.
I love that Brett Yormark pushes back against the powers that be. He does not care. Like, I love that there was this dramatic tussle behind the scenes with strong verbiage in the meetings, and that Greg Sankey and the SEC are just super annoyed by the Big 12. Like, I love that. It tells me everything I need to know about Brett Yormark, that he is fighting for the betterment of the Big 12 conference. He doesn't care.
Well, they don't want to kiss the ring, Spence.
No.
They don't want to acknowledge.
Or should they?
Yeah. Like,
Fight for your conference, and he does.
fight for your right to get into the college football playoff
Party.
Yes.
Yes. So I really, really like that Brett Yormark and his constituents continue to just fight the powers. Yeah. A little Rage Against the Machine on the mind.
The ultimate. Now testify. The ultimate fight back is on the field, though, is to produce multiple teams that deserve to be in the playoff.
No doubt about it.
So that you don't have just the champ.
I do enjoy the idea of the Big 12 every year having 2 teams in the college football playoff, but I am more strongly of the opinion, and we'll get into the specifics of this in a moment, that you should just be in the top 16 and earn it. Just earn it.
That's assuming that the Group of 5 team is top 16.
Because they would be a bid stealer at that point. Like if the best Group of 5 team's
not.
number 18 or number 20, they're
Then
taking
it's the
a
top
spot.
15
Then it's the top
plus
15.
that team. Yes.
Yes.
So essentially top 15 as well.
Yes. So I actually am a little surprised that the SEC coaches moved so quickly.
I am too.
They moved very quickly.
I don't get it outside of just being a competitor.
Until I heard this, the SEC believes that they actually have maybe a better chance of getting more teams in the college football playoff.
Meaning 6, not the 4 plus a 1 at large?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like
can we put up that graphic again of last year's top 16 there?
How many
that's
SEC
good
teams
stuff.
would have been in the top
Let's look at that
16,
again.
right?
Because BYU going into the selection time was 17. Okay, so this is what it would have. So SEC teams: 2 Georgia,
Texas,
6 Texas, 10 Tennessee. That's 3. Alabama 13. Ole Miss, South Carolina.
6 SEC teams.
So that's why they don't want the 4-4-2-2.
It makes total sense. Like, why would they move so quickly? Oh, it's because they think they can get maybe more teams in instead of having to give more options to potential bid stealers from other conferences.
That makes total sense. Great point. And if strength of schedule is included, like you read, then yes, then Alabama and Ole Miss with 3 losses would get in over a 2-loss BYU in that situation. BYU would have been the first team out last year, and that would have been hard to deal with.
The strength of schedule was brought up by whatever source Brett McMurphy is using here.
Any SEC, anybody.
I'm gathering that's probably an SEC person, but yeah.
Okay, so
they need a better metric.
Walk me through this then. What's your perfect playoff format?
I am totally in line with 5 automatic qualifiers and 11 at-large teams.
4 Power 4, 1
Yes.
group of 6.
You win your conference, and you can determine that however you want to, whether you need a conference championship game or not. In fact, I'm wearing the same shirt today.
You are wearing the same shirt.
Nice work turning that around today, crew. Nice work. That immediate turnaround. Picture taken here.
You know what? I was completely distracted from the actual text on the graphic. Can we show it again? There we go.
Okay, 5 conference champions, the 4 Power 4, and then highest ranked group of 5, 11 at-larges. Yes, you pointed out that what if the group of 5 team is ranked outside of the top 16? Then it would be the 15 best teams plus wherever the group of 5 and their best is.
Group of 6, respect the new Pac-12.
Now,
that could be Utah State.
There is a
Bronco
very small chance that one of the Power 4 conferences could have an absolutely terrible year, and maybe their champion is ranked number 18.
That's true.
And that could also steal a bid.
Let's be honest, though. I don't see that happening.
I don't think that the Power 4 champions
it could happen.
will be outside of the top 16. Maybe in a weird year on a very rare occasion.
Probably not.
What I do need, Jarom, is I need a net ranking system for college football.
Agreed.
We have to have. There are enough metrics out there and enough smart people and algorithms, because we've seen it in basketball, that you can do it for the king of all college sports, which is college football, the biggest money sport. Why do you not have a metric like they use for the NCAA tournament with a human selection committee to be able to use?
And then they're like, well, we're just going to ask Grok and Chat GPT, and those will all be the different. Nope. I agree with you. I would like a net ranking that's a sorting tool of sorts. Then we can go, oh, that was a quad 1 win for BYU on the road at Iowa State or whatnot. Oh, this is a quad 2 game with Colorado because ... We could just kind of have more data points. I don't want like a million data points. Don't get me wrong. I love stats and all that, but yeah, I agree with you. Also, I would like to know what metrics they're using entirely. Like, what exactly are they looking at? In basketball, we know what the committee looks like. They have a team sheet. The coaches have it. They change their scheduling based on team sheets and those situations. Chris Burgess, Kevin Young have talked about. They looked at Arizona. They had the same exact conference record. Arizona didn't win a big non-conference game, a single quad 1 non-conference game last year, and had a seed 2 spots better just because they played the games, not won the games in non-conference, played the games.
So that's why BYU has gone out and significantly challenged themselves early in the season.
Thank you, AJ Dubonsa, and everyone that wants to see him play and this team too. I'm with you on that. Yep. Also, I want 2 rounds of home games, and then you can go to these neutral site traditional games with the 16. I don't want any buys. I want
no
straight
buys.
up.
16 teams would be no buys.
No buys, right? Just straight up. But, like, can you imagine if BYU was a top 8 seed and they got a home game in the playoffs?
Taking on the number 9 seed?
Taking on the 9 seed, if they were the N8 seed or whatever. Or if you were let's say they were the 4 seed, Spence, they were that good that year, they're undefeated, they're 13-0, and they're a top 4 seed, and they would have 2 home games to the semifinals. That would be awesome. That would be cool.
So you want to take away some of the bowl games in the quarterfinals.
Well, you're right. I guess there's one. I guess the quarters you probably need to insert that.
It would just be
just the
every
first
team,
round.
it's
just the first
better
round,
seeded team has a home game. There are no buys.
One home
You're taking
game.
away the buys.
You're right. It wouldn't work for 2. It's 1 home game, and then you throw in the traditional.
Now, if you wanted
for some reason, we need to cater to those still. I don't know why.
Yeah, if you wanted the playoff to expand to 24, then we're talking about multiple home
We go
games.
to 48. No, you're right. It's just first round. Why do we need to cater to the traditional bowl games? Just money and tradition?
I'm gathering that the almighty dollar may have something to do with why those bowl games continue to be associated with the quarterfinals and semifinals.
I don't mind. I don't need peach. I'm not from the South, so I don't care about the Peach Bowl. But, like, the Cotton Bowl, sure. Rose, great. All that. Sugar, orange. Like, okay. We were just using simple resources back in the day. Rose, sugar, cotton. Like, they couldn't come up with more creative names back in the day. Just like simple things. The Bread Bowl.
Tradition,
That would be a good one, right? Come on.
It's tradition.
What? Fiddler on the Roof?
Yeah, the Bread Bowl. And then it rains.
Tradition.
You just wait for it to rain at the Bread Bowl. It's like, soggy Bread Bowl. That's in the Independence Bowl, okay? It's Shreveport 2021. Soggy Bread Bowl of a bowl game.
Is BYU out of the soggy bowl game era? Are we out of that now? Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger reported yesterday that members of a new Committee of Power conference administrators are exploring ways to overhaul a 365-day college football calendar, put it in your Franklin planner, that was originally built for an amateurism system. Amateurism, that's gone. College executives are reinventing a dated calendar to marry with the House settlement-related athlete revenue sharing model set to begin July 1st. Yes. Here are 3 specific issues at the forefront of this agenda. 1, choosing between a single transfer portal window in January or in April. 2, moving signing day up from December and February to August or even earlier. And a proposal to move teams' spring practices to summer. Would these changes, or the idea of these changes, be good for college football in this new revenue-sharing era?
I like a few of these, and I feel like, because they have been well thought out, that they naturally are intertwined. I am in favor of a single transfer portal window.
When?
But if spring football still happens, then I wouldn't want to do it in April. However, if they move spring practice to after April, then that makes sense. So if the portal window is in April and then spring practice starts in June, then yeah, sign me up. I feel like there's natural flow there. What I hate to see is what happened to BYU, where a guy like Keelan Marion goes through the entirety of spring football and we're all bought in. It's like,
and then gets offered a massive number.
Yeah, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
I hate that. I think that's bad for the sport. I don't like the movement there. Not saying I don't want players to be able to move. So I am in favor of
don't like the timing.
A portal window, but I think the timing is terrible there.
Yeah.
I think it hurts the teams and it hurts the sanctity of the sport to a small degree. I'm happy.
There's sanctity in the sport still?
I'm holding on, Jared.
Yes, we are.
I'm holding on.
Once the game kicks off, there's sanctity, but I don't know that there is before.
And I'm happy that I love Keelan. He earned the right to go get paid and to play at a high level and seek a better, bigger opportunity in his mind.
I was told it was 7 figures, by the way. So it's hard to, blame a guy for seeking that.
I would rather it be like, okay,
if it's offered.
Well, he's going and then practices happen. So
right.
if you're after the port, like you're in with the team.
Yes, I heard Brian Kelly of LSU say, I want to know who my team is in January. Let's do the portal then, and then I can train with them all year. We practice in the spring, and then the summer we're doing meetings and playbook and all that, and then we train again, and then we play. It is interesting. So I would be in favor of one portal window in January only.
Okay.
It is awkward, though, for the playoff teams. So I could see where you – the only reason I would like it in April is if they did move the practices to June, right? To later. Then you're getting ready. Do you go June hard, you go July off, and then you practice again in August or something? I'm not sure how that would work. It is a little awkward because, let's be honest, the sort of fiscal calendar year now seems to be kind of July through June with revenue sharing and whatnot, as I understand it. Maybe I'm off on that, and it's January through December. But it's a little tough to sort of deal with that because in that article, it also mentioned schools can now offer revenue share contracts to high school prospects August 1st of their senior year. So you kind of, the dance that Dave George and everybody at BYU have in sort of trying to figure out, okay, what are we offering? What are we under the cap for a given year in all the sports, let alone in our one sport of football and so on and so forth, with portal windows. Signing day I would love to move, by the way.
December and February are terrible dates.
I think that
December stinks.
I would love for it to be like July 1st. I really would.
Okay.
Because I do want the coaches to have a break at some point, which is July right now. But right now, there's a bunch of dudes on their official visits. There's a notable 5-star quarterback BYU's trying to get hanging out this week on campus, which is exciting. If that dude feels it and knows it, let him sign now. Let him sign now. I would love for it to be in this kind of OV period. The biggest recruiting for next year that gets done is right now, this month, for BYU and a lot of schools.
It would be entertaining to have, in a very short time frame, conference media days happening, then signing day, and then training camp start, like all around the same area. So like mid-July until the first week of August. It's just all football, all kind of in that period.
What if their off season was January, February, March, right? They kind of focus on school, do the harder classes then, and then you get into this then you do kind of the portal stuff and signing and transfer and revenue share. There's a lot going on now. It's pro sports now.
I'm glad these conversations are happening.
It's pretty pro here.
I feel like it's really good that these conversations are happening. They should. Yeah. Everything should be discussed.
I don't believe in massive wholesale changes in my life. What I believe in is a million tiny ones constantly. Because then you look back in a year and you go, oh, look, I changed all these little things. We're headed in a different direction. I think that's what they're trying to do, and I like that.
Okay, come on. Told you we had a lot to discuss.